I'm going to bring in now Michael Geoghegan. He has been listening into all of this, our political analyst coming to us from Victoria. Michael, appreciate you sticking around here. It's going to be a long weekend. You might as well just stick around as we continue to, pull away the layers. Let's start with Singh right now and where he is, his messaging right now, and talking about affordable housing. We know it's a big issue among families in Vancouver.
Yeah, absolutely. I was just actually meeting with a Victoria City councillor the other day, and one of the things she talked about is the growing problem with working homeless, people who have full-time jobs, can't afford anywhere to live, and the housing affordability is even less in Vancouver than it is in Victoria. So we have a huge problem in that rents have skyrocketed, other costs have skyrocketed, and wages have flatlined over the last few decades. And so now, just in terms of people's ability to do those things in a functioning society, like get a job, have somewhere to live, raise a family, those are all in serious jeopardy. So, and Mr. Singh is right when he talks about when they changed the tax credit structure, so that construction companies were no longer building volumes of rental accommodation. That had an impact in terms of the housing supply, particularly the affordable housing supply, and now that needs to be redressed.
And it's really interesting, because this is sort of the last ditch effort now for all of the leaders to really push and get that support. And he was asked, can he maintain the 44 seats that they have in the House? And he's saying, well, yes. He says we can. We think we've sort of captured that dream, and it's the NDP that can deliver on all of these promises and sort of act as his watchdog, if you will, if he's not elected as prime minister, but act as his watchdog for the other respective parties. And it's interesting. I pulled sort of a quote. He says, saying to Canadians, don't vote out of fear, vote out of hope. And it really seems like he's really trying to push that, saying, Canadians, you have hope with the NDP.
Yeah, I think what he's trying to say is, look, if you don't trust the Liberals to actually deliver, give us the balance of power. We'll hold their feet to the fire and make sure they actually come through with their promises. Because, of course, one of the longstanding political traditions in Canada is the Liberals campaign to the left and then govern to the right. And so I think part of the messaging that Singh and the NDP have is, if you're tired of that game, have a Liberal minority government, and then we'll make sure that they deliver on their promises. Of course, on the other hand, the Liberals are looking at this. They would love to have a majority government, but if they have the NDP holding the balance of power, one of the cards they have up their sleeve is they know the NDP don't have a lot of money in terms of being able to be able to afford another quick election. So they're looking at this and going, you know what? If we do have the NDP holding the balance of power, odds are we're going to be in power for 2, 3, maybe even the full 4-year term. So it's definitely a dance that both parties are doing.
Let's talk about the elephant, or the new elephant in the room, I should say, with regards to the Conservative Party and the report saying hiring Warren Kinsella and his company to keep Maxime Bernier out of the debates. I want to get your reaction to that first, and then let's talk about Andrew Shear.
Well, this is the new age of politics we're entering into. We're in the information age. And so now it's a thing where both in terms of obtaining information and getting information, even if it's, propaganda, getting it out there through social media, et cetera, has now become a bigger part of the campaign. So it does not surprise me in the least that they would hire someone like Warren Kinsella to dig up dirt on Max Bernier and his People's Party, because that party, they know virtually all of those votes are coming at the expense of the Conservatives. They knew this was probably going to be a close election race, so every percentage point that's going to Max Bernier's party is taken away from the Conservatives. So they wanted to do their best to hobble him.
What's your response to Shear's lack of response to this? He sort of skirted around it. Our Glenn McGregor asked him over and over again and said, but sir, you talk about transparency and accountability. Why can't you be transparent in this situation? He sort of came back with the same statement saying that, it's not, they won't comment on any said, contracts, whether they exist or they don't exist. That's just something that they won't do. What do you think about that answer and the perception it will put among voters?
Well, yeah, certainly it goes directly against the argument that they're going to be more transparent. On the other hand, I'm sure they've done the political calculus and gone, well, if you admit that you do it, it's going to hurt us worse. And then, of course, if you deny that you did it, and there's evidence out that you did, that's even a more worst case scenario. So at this point, just simply saying nothing, they feel is their least damaging option. Here we are, a couple days before actual voting day. So I think they're trying to play it safe.
Trying to play it safe, and we'll see how things unfold come Monday. Michael Geoghegan, great chatting with you. Thanks so much for sticking around. We'll be speaking with you again, I'm sure.
Thank you.
You're welcome.